Okay. Can I just get your name and like what type of classes you teach?
Nancy Cade, and I teach history and political science here.
Okay. What do you think your hardest class that you teach is for like students? Like, what do you think the one they struggle with the most is?
British history and European history.
Okay.
Maybe a little comparative government.
Why do you think that is?
Mostly it's because our students study American history, they study American government.
Yeah.
And in comparative government, you're doing European government, and obviously British history and European history, you're doing something other than American.
Okay. What do you think your students struggle with most in your classes?
They don't know how to take notes. Students tend to write down every single word, and you need to hit the highlights instead of every single word.
Okay. So do you have any tips on how to study for your classes?
One of the things that I always suggest to students is they break their notes into little bitty pieces, put them on note cards. If you keep just going over your notes and over your notes and over your notes, you're wasting your time. You're going over material you know, and you're getting it jumbled up with material you don't know.
Yeah.
Break it into little bitty pieces, divide it into the stuff you know and the stuff you don't know, and focus on the stuff you don't know.
Okay. And do you have any words for new students coming in? Anything you want to say to them?
Talk to your faculty. We don't bite too hard. Some of us nibble a little around the edges, but you definitely want to get to know the faculty, because the faculty, each individual faculty member can help you more in their classes than asking me to help you study for a chemistry class. I don't know what to study for chemistry. I never took chemistry.
Okay, and that's it. Thank you so much. Okay, so today with me I have Sarah, and we're gonna be going over how she studies for her classes as a commuter. So, how hard is it for you to, try to set aside time commuting here to study?
Well, I live really close by, so like the travel isn't really the problem, but I work too, so it's like hard to find time in between work and school to do homework.
Okay, so what is how do you study? How do you study for each of your classes?
The way that's most effective for me is note cards.
Note cards?
Yeah, I make like a big stack of note cards for every exam.
Yeah, I saw them. So is that your main study tip?
Mm-hmm.
Just flashcards?
Yes, and take really good notes during lecturing.
Okay, so you're an education major, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who is the teacher that's over education?
I have Teresa Dahlhair.
Dollar?
Yes!
So, what type of, do you have any more studying tips for any upcoming education majors?
Be sure and read the text too, because if you just listen to what she says in class, you're missing out on like half the information that you need to know for the test.
Okay, so what textbooks do you have right now for education?
I just have the educational psychology book.
Okay, so can I just get like your full name?
Riley Elizabeth Mullins.
What's your major?
Psychology and history / political science.
Okay, so what would you say your hardest class is?
I guess my hardest class right now is Psych of Learning. I'm just getting up in like the upper level classes. Last year I was took Gen Ed, so.
Okay, what would you say the hardest part to study with your sports? Because I know you play tennis.
Yeah,
so.
it gets harder during your season. You just kind of have to work on your time management and focus on what the hardest classes are and spend a lot of time on them.
What do you think? I know I asked you your hardest class, but what do you think your hardest class to study for is?
To me, it's history courses, because I don't know, they're just tougher. It's more broad, and the answers, they don't exactly give them to you like a math class.
Okay, now what do you think your easiest class to study for is?
I mean, public speaking classes, those are easy, or your Gen Ed classes are pretty easy to study for.
If you could give one or two study tips to upcoming freshmen, what would it be?
Really manage your time and spend time on the class. Like actually sit down and study. Study guides are really helpful for me, I found. And study in groups. Like if you study with people, it makes it easier because you get different perspectives on the information.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
My name is Haley Carr, and I am an RA, and I'm on the softball team.
What was your most challenging course?
My most challenging course is anatomy and physiology.
Any tips for getting through those courses?
Just stay on top of your work, buy the book, do questions in the back of the book to get you going.
Do you have any other studying tips?
Make flashcards, go to your professors' office hours, and just stay on top of everything.
Do you have any other advice for incoming freshmen?
Just stay on top of your work and don't get behind.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lois White, and I'm an associate professor of accounting.
And what would you say your most challenging course is?
For my upper level students, I believe the most challenging course is intermediate accounting. It's often been said to be the class that sort of makes or breaks accounting majors. Most people decide at that point if they want to continue on the accounting track or choose something else. Overall, I think a lot of students in the business program find accounting challenging in general, especially those who aren't doing accounting as a major. And so the principles courses tend to be very challenging as well.
Do you have any advice for students taking those courses?
My major advice would be always read the textbook because it's very difficult from the faculty side to get in all of the information that you need to portray in just an hour and 15 minutes. Well, it equates to 3 hours a week. So it's very difficult to teach you every single thing you need to know about a topic in a short amount of time. So if you've actually taken the time to do the reading before you come to class, then the things introduced in class aren't an entirely new concept. You've already been exposed to it. Even if you didn't fully understand it when you read it, then you're going to get the reinforcement when you get to class to help you understand the concepts better. So always do the reading assignments. I know they're the easiest ones to put off and make a last priority because they're often not a graded assignment, but it will absolutely help you in the long run.
Do you have any advice for a business major with an emphasis in accounting?
Business major with an emphasis in accounting. Know for sure that you love numbers. Most people think that accounting is a math class, which is absolutely not true. It's more of a problem-solving class. So if you think back to elementary school, when your teacher would give you a sheet of math problems and it would all be very simple ones, and then the very last problem would be a lengthy word problem that was a paragraph long. Basically, that's accounting. All of our problems are word problems in accounting. So I think know for sure that you want to do a subject that is highly quantitative in nature, because if you don't enjoy doing lots of calculations, you're not going to enjoy accounting.
Do you have any studying tips?
Definitely try to make your study zone free of distractions. I'm even bad myself at home to try to do work with the TV on or maybe the record player going or something of that nature, but I find that I am most productive when I can just turn all the noise off and focus on what I'm studying. But I would also recommend taking frequent breaks. You know, you can only look at things so many times before you just kind of start to glaze over it versus actually studying it. So I would say make your study zone distraction free and absolutely take lots of breaks. And don't, if you can avoid it, don't sacrifice sleep for studying, because you can study all night, but then if you only get 2 hours of sleep, you're going to be so tired on the exam day that you're going to have trouble recalling all of the things that you studied.
And lastly, do you have just any general advice for incoming freshmen?
Go to class. Absolutely, go to class. I teach a section of first year seminar in addition to my accounting courses, and I can see the trend usually by midterm of the students who stop sort of showing up on a regular basis, and those are sadly often the students that aren't still here when finals week rolls around. So my best advice would be go to class. Don't miss class unless you absolutely have to, because there's going to be situations that may arise, like a family emergency or illness, and you can't avoid missing class. So if you've already skipped class 3 times, those absences that you can't avoid are going to hurt your attendance, even more.